Hi, I was born in Harrow, grew up in Harrow. I went to university up in Kiel and studied to be a physiotherapist. Moved to Oxford to work, and then after getting married and to my husband Peter, we moved to Nigeria in 2002 for 3 years to work over there with Amaudo. We were previously living and working in Oxford, and my husband trained as a vicar in the Church of England, and we were brought to Milton Keynes as his first job as a curate.
Okay, when was this?
In 2010. I've lived the longest in Oxford, and that's where we came from when we first came to Milton Keynes. It's really different. I have to confess that when I first heard we were coming to Milton Keynes, I was thinking, and thought of roundabouts and concrete and lots of the images I know people have before they come here, but was really pleasantly surprised when we moved here. Oxford is very focused around the university. Milton Keynes is very diverse. I live in Warburton, where there's a really strong sense of community, much stronger than I'd experienced in Oxford. So that's something that we really love about Warburton particularly, and belonging to a city but in a community that feels smaller than a city, and being able to get out and about like I know your last guest said. We'll have 3 young children, 2 of whom have just started school, but 1 has not, so I get out and about quite a lot to the various toddler groups and things that are going on locally to me. I'm involved in the churches where my husband is curate, which we do quite a lot in the church, and also out in the community as well. I love meeting people, so any opportunity to meet other people with similar interests, and we love getting out into the countryside, and particularly down by the canal where we can walk from the house down to the river and the canal. Yeah, we have a varied programme during the week. I'm involved in the children's work on a Sunday morning, so we try and welcome families to the Sunday morning services. We also have a breakfast on a Saturday morning, which is very much open to those in the community and attended each week by a variety of people who come to church and those who don't, and we're a resource. We hand out food bank parcels as well during that. We have a youth group which we started at our house on a Sunday evening, so when we connect with the older young people and the teenagers. And we've also started on a Tuesday after school, kind of modelled on a messy church model, so kind of church after school, lots of activities and craft and refreshments, and hopefully a time for people to come along and enjoy learning a bit more about their faith journey in a relaxed atmosphere. And there's also opportunities for older people. On a Friday lunchtime we have soup and prayers, so soup and rolls available for anyone who'd like to pop in and have them. So lots of things, hopefully things that reach out to the community and involve the church in the community.
Yeah, sounds good.
The day we moved into our new house, we had tried to arrange for there to be space for the moving van to park outside. It didn't quite work, so there was lots of parked cars, and we had to knock on people's doors to move. And within that first few hours, we've spoken to more neighbours than I think we've managed to, despite our best efforts in Oxford, living in the same house for 3 years. So yes, we quickly felt a part of our street, and from that came invitations to activities, and yeah, we quickly felt very at home in Warburton and increasingly in the wider Milton Keynes. My husband's job means that we will eventually probably move on to another job elsewhere, but I hope it won't be before we absolutely have to, because we are really enjoying living here. I think don't judge something by its cover. I think a lot of people who we've told we've moved here have said that they've got lots of ideas about what it's like, and that they need to come and visit to see what it's really like. So yeah, definitely come and find out for yourself about the people, not just the roundabouts.
Yeah.
I think I'd encourage them to come and spend some time here. Particularly that Milton Keynes, as far as I have discovered, is made up of a lot of communities that are communities in their own right, as well as being a more diverse and together community of Milton Keynes as a bigger place. And I think being a part of those smaller communities then helps you to become a part of Milton Keynes, when maybe if you think of it as a big city, it's daunting and hard to know where you would fit in. I think it's a really exciting place to be. I think it's really well connected in the country. There's lots of possibilities for things to happen here. So yeah, I think it's an exciting place to be. Amaudo was set up in 1990 in southeast Nigeria in Abia State. It was set up by an English lady who'd been living there doing another work, who became unsettled by the fact that there were many destitute, mentally ill people on the streets, and apparently little was available for them from the state. it was something that people didn't want to talk about particularly, let alone do much about. She started to literally pick these people up from the street in her car and built a centre where they could come and live in community. She had the chapel at the centre of the community and built residences that were the same for staff and residents, to show that there was no difference between them around the centre of the chapel in the centre. And residents would stay between sort of 1 and 3 years, and during which time they would be assessed medically, given medication if they needed it, taught a skill so that they had something useful they could do, and took part in community life, which just the rhythm of which was often a very key part of their recovery. And as they got better, she would trace their families with their help once they were able to be coherent, and bring their families in or take the person home, and during a period build up relationships again. And since its inception, over 600 people have been through the centre and now live back with their families. My husband and I went out to Amaudo in 2002. From that initial work of Amaudo, other projects have grown as need has changed, and that still goes on. We went out to set up a project as a sub-project of that, working with children who had learning and physical disabilities. They were being brought to this lady because they saw that if she could deal with adults with mental health problems, they saw that learning disabled children fitted in the same category and maybe could be helped too. Okay. That was out of her remit, but she also saw there was a need. So we went out to train local field workers and set up a project called Project Comfort, to train local people to go into families who had a child with a disability, to help them to understand why that might have happened, to understand what was or wasn't wrong with their child, and most importantly to help that child reach their potential within the family. Having worked here as well in disability, I think as with everywhere it's very mixed. We had some families who were absolutely blown away by the understanding that their child wasn't possessed or had been cursed, and totally took on board what the field workers were able to share with them, and then went all out to help their child reach their potential. And we had other families who couldn't accept that, and couldn't bring themselves for whatever reason to care for their child. But I think, like I say, having worked here too, that range of acceptance is possibly seen everywhere for different reasons. Amaudo UK was set up just over 10 years ago to support the work in Nigeria. It became apparent that for the work in Nigeria to be as fruitful as it needed to be and to meet the need that it was seeing, it needed a UK-based channel support in an official and transparent way. So Amaudo UK was set up based in London to support that work formally. So we currently do that by resourcing some of the work. We do support financially, but we also focus a lot on equipping in other ways in terms of training. We've done a lot of work in training of trainers so that training can be cascaded down. We have sent out volunteers, and we have periods where we've sent out volunteers to do certain pieces of work that it's more appropriate for a volunteer to do, although we focus a lot on equipping those already there to do the work they can do. In whatever way we can.
MKMIX TV, sponsored by Network Rail.